felt the urge to smile. Swathed in ribbons of winter mist, the Grange loomed, a monolith of ugliness unredeemed by any sense of heritage. It was like a rotten tooth rising proud in a diseased gum, and stood in stark contrast to the bright new housing development she had just driven through. Essen Grange had a brooding menace that made the hairs on the back of her neck rise and prickle. "A house that Frankenstein built," she muttered, suppressing a shudder as she looked at it through her windscreen. It had been stitched together over centuries by the looks of it, but with no plan. Just the fads of the day tacked on without thought or design. The only thing that softened it was the ivy, though even that hung in drab, heavy swags that added more atmosphere than charm. There had never been any roses around the Grange's door, she was certain of that. It made her own modest home look like a haven of comfort in comparison, and that had been a lonely enough place of late. It was too late to turn back. The deal was done, she had agreed to take the job. Not that she had taken much persuading. Like a desperate idiot, she had jumped at it. Had even been flattered to hear that she had been personally requested, though she hadn't had the foresight to ask who had made the request. Besides, there was nothing to go back to. Just an empty house with nothing to do but sit there night after night, the ghosts of the past competing with her rage and her grief to see which of them could defeat her first. One of them had been ringing more incessantly throughout the journey. Not a ghost, but someone who might as well have been. A sister who had committed a cardinal sin and now wanted forgiveness. Maura could neither forgive nor forget. Not yet, and had almost thrown the phone out of the window in sheer frustration. Instead, she had switched it off and thrown it into the footwell of the car. She might be angry, she might even be running away, but she wasn't stupid. No one travelled into unknown territory and threw away their phone. Not even women who took jobs without asking sensible questions. Maura's head told her that, for all its sinister countenance, the Grange had to be better than home and constant harassment by her sister. Her gut did not agree. It lurched like a drunk on a boat as she looked up at the house. Her instinct insisted that something was off, something wasn't right, and it would not agree with what her head was telling her, that she should pull herself together, stop being an idiot, and get on with it. She should have run then. She should have climbed back in the car, turned around and driven away in a cloud of dust and skidding gravel. But Maura had decided to be guided by her head, not her feelings. Feelings had proven most unreliable in the past, and had led her into places she never wanted to revisit. Swallowing the uneasy feelings down, she walked up to the porch, approached the door, and gave the bell a tentative push, expecting to hear an echoing ring. She heard nothing, not even the hint of a distant chime. She waited for a long moment, wondering if the bell had sounded in some back recess of the house. Still nothing. Hanging from the door was a knocker, a rusting iron ring gripped in the snarling teeth of a lion's mouth. It looked as if it would take 2 hands to lift it, and as if the sound it might make could wake the dead, or something worse. Maura had no idea what worse might be, and cursed her overactive imagination, yet she couldn't quite convince herself not to feel a sense of dread. Just because instincts could be ignored, it didn't mean they disappeared. "Get a grip, woman," she told herself. "It's just a house, and it must have a back door." She found the tradesman's entrance at the back of the house, nestled in the corner of a brick-paved courtyard, amidst a sea of other doors that, in the low-lying mist, could have been portals to anywhere. It was the only door that showed signs of regular use. The rest looked like unused sheds, their paint peeling and flaking from neglect. A pair of Wellington boots stood to the side of the door that she assumed must lead into the kitchen. A steamed-up window prevented her from looking in, but as she approached she heard the whine of a gas kettle ramping up to screaming point and knew she had found the right place. As she was about to knock, the kettle ceased its whine. With her hand poised, she paused. To her astonishment, she heard a muffled yet familiar voice filtering through the open window. It stopped her in her tracks, and her hand fell to her side. What on earth was Philip Moss doing in there? "You worry too much. Besides, no one's going to say anything, no one will believe him. I've made sure of that. Anyway, they're all in it as much as we are, and you know I had no choice. Someone's got to look after him. The rest will take care of itself," he said, in the imperious tone Maura knew of old. So it was him who'd asked for her by name, although God knew why.